Hey man, this is Steve Horseman again with Good Guys to Great Men. Thank you again for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. There's an old book called Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. In the book she talked about fear, the nature of fear, and the nature of love. She said that love is what we're born with, and fear is what we learn a few days after that. And what she's trying to say is that these three crucial truths that I want to talk to you about are truths that are true since the day you were born. These three truths are that you are enough. You are good enough as you are right this very minute, just like you were the day you were born. The second truth is that you're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. The idea that you're not okay or not going to be okay is created in your mind. When you were born, you were fine and you were going to be fine. And the third one is that happiness is just a thought away, and that happiness is a natural state for you. It's a natural state of being. When you were born, you were happy and you had nothing to be unhappy about. As we get older and get more mature and get more experienced, we have all these events and all these reasons that start to take away the truth that you're enough, the truth that you're fine and you're going to be fine, and the truth that you're actually happy. You have every reason to be happy. The reason you're not is just a thought. So when we get into discussions with men about getting out of this monkey brain, getting out of this hummingbird mode of fear, the constant chatter of anxiety and uncertainty and depression and sadness and the irritability that comes with thinking that your life is falling apart at the hands of a relationship or a woman who is now distancing herself from you. When we talk about the getting your act together, when you first hear the "I love you but I'm not in love with you," it involves getting back to truth. It's very hard when you're in the thick of things to remember the truth, but I can tell you that every single man who does this work, who does this deeper dive work and starts to see this boom, this epiphany, this mind-blowing revelation of truth, that even when somebody doesn't want to be with you, even when somebody insults you, even if you're being blamed for somebody else's unhappiness or for their infidelity or anything, when you're being held up as a monster, it's hard to see the truth that you're good enough. I'd like you to download an audio book by Dr. Brene Brown called Men, Women, and Worthiness. You can get it for free on Audible, I think. Men, Women, and Worthiness. Brene Brown goes into the whole not good enough syndrome. It's called shame. She goes into a deep dive on the sources of shame for men and women. And for most men, we feel shame, that is the not good enough trigger, because we don't feel strong enough. We feel weak. We're perceived as weak in the eyes of others, and that's the worst kind of shame. Of course, it's a lie. In our mind, we start to make up stories as to why we're weak or we're not good enough or we're inadequate. We don't measure up in comparison to other people. Or if we are in a toxic relationship where we're believing everything we hear from somebody else that we're not good enough. The truth is, and the truth will set you free, you are good enough. At this very moment, as you're watching this video, you're good enough. And number two, you're fine right now and you're going to be fine. Life is full of changes. There was never a guarantee of certainty. Even on the wedding altar, I kid around, you had about a 50-50 shot of things working out. There was no certainty on your wedding day. There's no certainty about anything, and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is part of our coaching process and helping you get really grounded, really calm, really measured in the way you think about change, and realizing that if you're 30 or 40 or 50, you've got decades in front of you before you get to the deathbed and get to look back on your life. You've got decades to create things. So when we're thinking that we're not going to be fine, we feel like a victim. We feel like everything is happening to us. It's a shit show. It's a hailstorm of bad things and bad news and bad circumstances over which we have no control. Those are just thoughts. And those aren't truths. They're not true at all. When you get the mind-blowing epiphany that you're a creator, you can create anything you want, no matter what is happening outside of you. You get to create your experience of that through how you think about it and how you respond to it. That's the truth, and that's why you're fine now, and you're going to be just fine. And number three is the idea that happiness is just a thought away. Every dark thought, every sad feeling, every disempowering movie we have in our head about how bad we are, how bad things are going to get if something goes wrong. Those are just movies. Those are thoughts. And you get to change the way you think about your thoughts. Now, I always coach that you don't get to change what thoughts come into your head. Believe me, I know the mind monkeys that happen at 3:30 in the morning. All these movies and images and pictures that just hijack you from sleep and hijack you from any sense of peace and well-being. I know those well. You can't stop those from coming in, but what you can do is change the way you think about those thoughts. That will change the way you feel. And when you change the way you feel, you start to get a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more confident. You start to feel that little spring in your step, and you get that eyebrow of self-respect again. We call it mojo. And when you get your mojo back, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how bad it seems, you tend to look more as an observer. You don't see all the trees anymore. You see a forest, and you see reality for what it is, and you have a very efficient perception of what's going on, and it no longer owns you because you own how you want to think about it. And that is the most liberating thing of all. And that's what I want to help you create. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you keep watching these videos, come to a retreat, get into the men's roundtable. Maybe you sign up for the How to Diffuse the Divorce Bomb course. You can find that on the website. All of these options start to dive in deep into these three sources of unwellness. The source that you think you're not good enough. The source that you don't think you're going to be okay. And that source of unrest that says, I'm not happy and I'll never be happy. It's all BS, brother. Really, it's all BS. So I hope that gives you a spring in your step today. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.